Hampshire Police have become the first in the country to scrap the requirement for new recruits to have degrees. I didn't even know new recruits had to have a degree. Scott Chilton, who's the Chief Constable of Hampshire Police, has ruled that his officers do not need degrees and explained, "I want bobbies on the beat, not writing essays." He added, "There are many people who've thought about a career in the police but felt it was not possible." Do police officers even need a degree? And would this decision help recruit even more? And what would it take for you to have more confidence in the police and feel safer on the streets? I don't imagine it's about having a degree, is it? Let's speak with Paul Matthews, Professional Development Lead at the Police Federation. Afternoon to you, Paul.
Good afternoon, Ian.
Nice to have you with us. I was a bit staggered by this because I know that there are certain, accelerated roles and, you can go to university for half an hour and become a chief inspector if you play your cards right and all that business. I slightly exaggerate the point, but in terms of new recruits, I had no idea that there was a degree requirement now.
Well, there's not necessarily a degree requirement. The issue we have is there are several routes into policing, one of which is a degree apprenticeship. There's still a route into policing where a degree isn't required. What we are asking for as a police federation is for these routes to be standardised and for there to be one route into policing and for that route to be a very high level of training. When the College of Policing reviewed the level that police officers were working at and the level of training and education back in 2016, they determined that police officers were operating at an educational level of 6, which is equivalent to a degree. It then fell from that they came up with a degree programme where officers could, as part of an apprenticeship, do a degree at a university that complements alongside their training. And at the end of their probation, they would be a substantive police officer and have a degree. So I do see the argument that Chief Constable Scott Chilton, I think it was, said that he would rather officers being out on the street and doing police work rather than writing essays. And to some extent, I agree. I think it's very much in debate whether an officer needs a degree or not. I think it's only fair that if they are operating and working as hard as they are up to a level 6, that they're accredited in some way. That doesn't necessarily have to be a degree.
Yeah, but it's recognised as being at that kind of level, right?
Absolutely, and there are many other occupations, such as a solicitor, for example. The RSA, who regulates solicitors, have a route into being a solicitor that doesn't require a degree, and they still operate at an educational level of 6. So there are options available. What they could do, what we've asked for and they could consider, is doing away with things like the dissertation part of the degree and just offering an ordinary degree rather than an honours degree. That just means they don't do a dissertation. That would free up a huge amount of time. But at the moment, it seems that an honours degree is the way that people would like to progress.
And in terms of a greater emphasis, Paul, on training, it's often been discussed. I've certainly discussed it on the programme many times that, certainly police new recruits, the training process has dramatically changed over the years.
Absolutely. I've been in the police 23 years. I was trained at Hendon back in 2000, and that was a very intensive 18 weeks residential course. That's morphed over the years into where we are now. Now officers are in and out of universities on as well as having to do their work at home, as well as having to work on football aid and various other requirements and having their rest days cancelled. I imagine for a new recruit now going through their probation, it's extremely difficult to come out at the end of it and get their degree and pass. And there's no,
am I right in saying there's no physical element to training these days? I used to speak to officers, as you said, went to Hendon, Ashford as well, I think there was another one, is that right? And there was always this kind of talk about, my lungs nearly exploded on the 4th lap, that kind of, there was that side of it, which apparently is long gone. Is that true?
Well, they still have levels of fitness that they have to maintain. We're tested every year. We do what's called the bleep test. So there is you still have to be fit to be a police officer, and that's something you have to maintain throughout your career now.
Yeah, got it. Listen, Paul, thank you for your time. Really appreciate that. Paul Matthews is Professional Development Lead at the Police Federation.